Welcome into Gun Talk Nation. Today on Gun Talk Nation, we've got the man who started it all, Tom Gresham of Gun Talk. You may have heard of him.
This is going to be good.
This Gun Talk Nation is brought to you by DoubleStar, built for victory, and by Crimson Trace, complete focus. Gun Talk Nation is also brought to you by ATN, offering Smart HD, Ultra HD, thermal and night vision rifle scopes, binoculars, rangefinders, and more. ATN is currently offering free gifts with purchase of Binox 4K, the X-Sight 4K, the Thor 4, and the Thor LT. Find your next optic at atncorp.com.
I'm glad you had to say that, not me.
I tell you, I mess it up about 50% of the time, but, you know.
So I have a question. Can you see alligators with thermal?
Yeah. Can you?
They're cold-blooded. You know, if you could get them to swallow a hand warmer pack.
Yes. That's what
we learned
Yes.
if they are sunning themselves on the beach.
Their skin is in the sun.
Their
They're
skin
warm.
is in the sun. They are warm.
So you tried it out.
Well, yeah, of course I tried it out. I've got to have these important
It's just research.
answers. It's research.
So where were you doing this?
Oh, it's on WMA here in Louisiana.
Oh,
So,
cool. And that's where you use the 5.7 on?
Yes, sir, it is. And that Ruger 5.7 is something else.
5.7 for alligators.
I guess.
Yeah,
It worked.
So if anybody, but just by the way, if anybody's wondering why I'm wearing my camo, I just got in from deer hunting. I was out this morning. So,
Yes.
and I'm wearing more layers because it's like 42 degrees here. And that's as warm as it's going to be. I'm up in Idaho.
Yeah. So Tom's up in Idaho, been, hunting and shooting and doing Gun Talk Radio from up there for a little while. So we wanted to get you on before, as we're getting right up to this big presidential election, to kind of dive into some of that stuff. There's a lot going on right now. I mean, we've got crazy stuff with ATF. We've got judges going. We've got everything.
Well, and it's a big push to tell people, like, your vote matters. Your vote matters to your Second Amendment rights. And I think that's really a big push that we've got to make, and we've got to let people know what no voting can do and how it can harm them.
Right.
Well, it was interesting you say that because just this morning, I'm watching this conversation take place actually with gun sight people on Facebook. So you think gun sight people, right? They're all good to go. And several of them are saying, I just can't believe you're going to support Trump because of blah, 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 this, that, the other. And I'm a gun owner, but blah, blah, blah.
No.
And you're just going, are you just mental? Are you like the dumbest rock in a bag of rocks? I mean, if you want to keep your gun, and I'm not exaggerating about this, you cannot vote for Joe Biden. I mean, and people, it's the weirdest thing, guys, and because you've been there, you look at the website, people who just say, oh, well, he's not going to do anything. And then I say, go look at his website, joebiden.com/gun safety. And he has the whole wish list of all the guns he wants to ban and all the guns he wants to stop manufacture of. And by the way, all those magazines you have, whether it's AR-15 or even Glock 17s or whatever, anything that holds more than 10 rounds, you would have to pay $200 for each magazine.
Right.
To register it under the National Firearms Act, they would be treated the same as machine guns and suppressors.
Yeah, he wants to turn those into NFA items. Yeah. And
correct.
Tom, your earbuds are kind of jingling. We're hearing crinkle.
I think it's jingling the zipper.
Oh, maybe on the zipper of your jacket.
I think that's what it is.
I just wanted to, we're here. Yeah. If you're hearing that, it's the earbuds you're using.
Is this a problem?
Sounds great. Yeah. We're all about high quality audio.
Our audio guys are stressing out. Michael's behind the camera going, guys, you're making this. I'm going to make a lot of money in post.
But wait for it.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay, that's what it is. Okay,
but that's what it is.
We won't do that anymore.
So yeah, there are people who will say, "But I don't like Trump." Well, okay, well, but I don't think Biden's not really. He doesn't care about guns. That's not a high priority for him.
Except that the people who are pushing him, that's a really high priority. And the entire gun ban industry is behind him and pushing hard. And they have a complete wish list. You know, Kamala Harris, when she was running for president, she said, if we don't get gun control passed in the first 100 days, then I'm going to use executive action and I'm going to do it myself.
She did. Yeah.
So she will be pushing Joe because he won't even know where he's getting pushed. You know, and frankly, I believe that Kamala would end up being the president before too long.
Yeah.
At some point, you know, before the 4 years is over. So what they want to do is stop the manufacture of semi-automatic firearms, rifles, pistols, shotguns. You know, not assault weapons, people. Semi-automatic guns.
Yeah. Your Ruger 1022. Done.
Yeah. Your Benelli Super Eagle, whatever it is, and then it goes on from there. Oh yeah, limit you to you can't buy more than one gun a month. Well, if you're a gun collector, if you find somebody has 6 guns that you've been looking for 25 years, sorry, you can't buy them.
Right.
It makes no sense. It's not going to affect crime. It's simply a way of getting people to think, and the public to think, well, guns are bad and we shouldn't let people have those. And so they'll say, this is a way to stop stockpiling of guns. You're not collecting guns, you're stockpiling. And of course, how many times have you guys seen a story in the media where they arrested somebody with an arms cache? He had 3 guns and 500 rounds.
Right. Oh, sure.
And you're going, that won't even get us through a morning.
No,
right. And anyone who's listening to Gun Talk Nation is like, they probably have minimum of 5 or 10 guns, minimum. And, you know, hundreds, if not thousands, in their truck of ammo. And so, yeah, the problem is we go, well, they're just going after extreme cases. They're people who will say that. No, they're really, they want it. The end goal, what's the end goal, Tom?
Well, the end goal, of course, is to get rid of private ownership of guns. And occasionally they'll actually say that. I mean, we're not overstated. They'll actually say, well, that would be what we would like to do, but we can't do it all at once. So we have to do it a piece at a time. And I've been watching this for 50 years, and they come up with these terms. Way back, they called them Saturday night specials. We were going to ban those because they were too small and too cheap. And then we're going to ban sniper rifles because they're too big and too powerful. And then we're going to ban assault weapons because I can't figure out what that is, but they shoot too fast and they're actually kind of ugly. And we want to ban anything that's ugly. They'll go to any part of it they can get, but that's where they want to go. It's one of the reasons why it's so really important that Amy Coney Barrett get on the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court can stop this if it will. Right now it won't, because it's basically 4-4 and Roberts in the middle, and Roberts is leaning to the left.
Yeah.
But if once she gets on, it is truly 5-4 on the conservative side. And I think it's going to really be good for all these Second Amendment cases we have coming. We have concealed carry cases, assault weapon cases, the California roster where they tell you which guns you can buy, and only those are on the approved list.
They're trying a case right now in California. That's a big one.
Oh, there's a whole bunch of them going on right now. And of course, you know, we just had the ATF going nuts on the arm
braces. Yeah.
That's bizarre.
Let's talk about that for a minute, because I mean, they're basically, the ATF has basically said, you know, braces aren't braces, and they're trying to create, and they just picked on one company and really kind of one product at one company to start off. But now it's coming out that they've actually sent some cease and desist letters to other companies that
Correct.
make guns with braces.
So backing up, pistol braces were originally designed so that veterans who couldn't shoot a pistol well would have a brace they could put on their forearm. Well, it turned out that a lot of people said, well, that's a cool idea. We'll use that on our pistol. It's kind of a quasi short rifle. And ATF was asked, is this legal? Are we okay with this? And the ATF said, yeah, that's fine. And then they kind of said, well, but if you put it to your shoulder, maybe not. And then they came back and said, well, okay, yeah, it's all right. So as of like 2 weeks ago, everything was fine. Pistol braces were great. Not a problem. ATF said fine. The reality is ATF is a bureaucracy. ATF is the swamp. And there are people who've been at ATF for many, many years who really don't think you and I should own guns. And they especially don't think you should own guns that could be used defensively. And so they didn't like bump stocks. First, they did like bump stocks, and they didn't like bump stocks. And then they did like the arm brace, and now they don't like the arm brace. What you have is career bureaucrats who are making these decisions without any input from Congress. But what's happened is all of a sudden Congress is paying attention to this, and they've already been able to put a stop to ATF enforcing this thing against Q. They've stopped that as of right now, and we'll see what happens. But it's a mess, and can you imagine how free those gun banners not all ATF people are gun banners, but there are some there and some at the very top, how free they would feel to operate like this with Joe Biden as the president.
Joe Biden, he's just fine with it. Yeah, let's go ban all that stuff. I wonder about the ATF, and like you said, it's not everyone there, but there probably are some people there who are just, and I guess what I'm thinking about is if they're a law enforcement agency to a certain degree, and
regulatory and law enforcement,
right, and the people you deal with a lot are the people breaking the law. You're dealing with the criminal part of gun ownership more so than any of us are.
Right.
You start to think of gun owners as criminals versus, it's kind of like, I remember we had a friend many years ago who was a prosecutor, and he said it just burned him out because everybody he dealt with was guilty. Yeah. And he just started feeling like everyone he meets is a criminal. Because everyone he dealt with was a criminal.
Yeah, he was a district attorney. He ended up quitting his job as a DA and quitting his job as an attorney and got out of the law altogether. But, let's talk about the ATF for a second, because you do have a law enforcement arm of ATF, but you also have the ones who are just purely regulatory. And right now, I think what's going on is the regulatory people are the ones who are doing all of this just because they can, and they will until somebody stops them, which kind of circles us all the way back to the election and Donald Trump. And I want to talk for a second just about people who say, well, I don't like Trump. I wish he wouldn't tweet, yada, yada. Me too. Okay. Yeah. I wish he would just stop tweeting. I wish he would honestly stop talking. He's not just great. Action. Okay. He just drives me crazy. And yet, as one meme I saw said, a vote is not a Valentine to express your love for a candidate. A vote is a chess move to affect the way you want the world to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's
so
kind of,
this is not saying we love Donald Trump. This is saying by voting for him, I will get to make the country the way I want it to be. And in my case, that's about judges and justices, not just the Supreme Court,
right?
Because most cases never get to the Supreme Court. So whatever the appeals court decides ends up being the law of the land.
Right.
Trump has put more than 200 judges on the appeals courts and has actually flipped, it's either 2 or 3 of them from liberal to conservative.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we're even seeing it in the Ninth Circuit, which was traditionally super, super liberal, and nothing could get out of there in favor of our world. And we're even seeing some changes over there.
Oh, yeah. The Ninth is right at, or actually has flipped to conservative, which no one would have thought possible. Trump has been busy, which, by the way, he couldn't do if we didn't have control of the Senate. And so if we lose control of the Senate, even if he gets reelected, that stops.
Yeah.
So we have to reelect Trump. And I don't care what the polls are saying. I think we're very much in the hunt, and I think it could absolutely happen and surprise him again. But we also have to keep the Senate. And the one that bothers me, has got me worried right now, is Arizona.
Really?
Martha McSally is the Republican running against Mark Kelly, and Kelly was the astronaut, but he's married to Gabby Giffords. He's the spokesman for a gun ban organization.
Right.
And in Arizona, he's pretending that's not true. He's hiding that completely. And then he says, well, I own guns, which is the whole I own guns, but really, we're going to do that again?
Yep.
I own guns. Let's talk about all the guns you own and shooting and all the gun safety classes you teach.
I've got a shotgun rifle.
That's right.
You know, and the thing is, he does own guns and he does shoot, and he is a gun banner. And he's the lead spokesman for the gun banner. And then you look at the group, Giffords organization, and they endorse Feinstein, and they endorse Pelosi, and they endorse Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. They endorse nothing but gun banners. They do not endorse any pro-gun candidate anywhere. But he is up by almost 10 points in Arizona.
Wow.
And that's a real worry, because I think Arizonans are just getting fooled by all of the money that's flowing in and the ads that they're running. And he's just simply hiding who he is.
And Arizona is a huge gun state. I mean, gun ownership. You talk about not just gun ownership, but real active participants in hunting and shooting and carrying and competition shooting. I mean, it's one of the places we go and you go, man, there is a gun culture here.
Except that Arizona has also become California light.
Yeah.
You have the exodus of people leaving California because they don't like California, but wherever they go, they want to make it California again.
Right.
You know, whether that's Oregon or Washington and now Arizona and
Montana, they're going everywhere.
Yeah.
Montana and Texas. So each of these states, look, the demographics are pretty clear. They're going to go blue eventually, which is why you have to have the judges and the justices, because they can put a stop to it. If Louisiana or Texas or Arizona passes a law to ban guns, some type of guns, they can do that. And the legislatures will pass that. But if it's unconstitutional, and if you have the right people on the bench, you can get it stopped. And I worry about this blue movement that's taking place with California exporting all these folks. But I am encouraged because the courts are where we can stop it. That's our firewall.
Yeah. Yeah. That's an interesting take too. I mean, it's kind of, it's the last line of defense, perhaps. Even if stuff does get passed, you can challenge it.
Right. And that's only going to continue if Donald Trump stays in and we keep the Senate. So for those who say, well, my vote doesn't matter, or I really don't like Trump, or I'm going to vote third party, well, you're just dumb as a bag of rocks. I'm sorry. You cannot be a serious gun owner or a gun rights supporter and vote for Biden or vote third party, because a vote for third party is a vote for Biden. It just is.
Right. And it's about winning. You know, we've said this for years. I want to win. I'm not looking to, you know, it's like the running back on your football team, I want him to be able to run.
Yes.
Okay. I want him to run. I don't care if he has a 30 on his ACT or if, you know, what kind of charity work he does. I just want him to run and run fast and run over people.
Well, part of that is just showing up to the game. I mean, you got to show up. You got to show up to the polls. And Ryan actually went to the polls today.
Yeah.
Actually,
and
did some early voting.
I'm headed
What
there
happened?
tomorrow, so it's actually a pretty funny. I enjoy it.
I got there right at lunchtime, which is obviously a horrible time to get there. There was a line out the door. I think I stood in line for about 35, 40 minutes to try to get it done. But it was interesting. I mean, you know.
What's the feel that you got? What's the vibe of voter
I felt like
turnout?
I was in the movie with Dustin Hoffman where they've got the monkey outbreak thing going, because everybody working there had on full surgical gowns, and masks and gloves.
It was like the Outbreak movie.
Yeah, like Outbreak, and they handed me a finger condom to be able to touch the screen to vote.
No.
Which my next question was, did you grab extra? Because what do little finger condom gloves make good?
They're great for covering the barrel, so you don't get dust and debris in your barrel, right?
And he didn't grab any, so I guess it's up to me.
I told him when he goes tomorrow, you got to grab a handful.
No, what
and
you
I'm
do,
going to
KJ,
lick them all.
KJ, you say, look, I have 10 fingers, so I need 10 of these.
That's right.
Please, right?
All my fingers are getting to vote.
That's right.
Hey, KJ, explain what you're talking about putting it over the muzzle of your gun. Why would you do that?
The reason why you do that, if you go out into muzzleloader guys are very familiar with this. What you do is you take sometimes it's a balloon, sometimes it's a piece of tape, but those little finger
It
condoms,
looks like a finger condom. It's
it
small.
does. But
Yeah,
you put that over the barrel, and if debris can't get in there, moisture can't get in there from the barrel. So if you're sitting there hiking through and it's raining, you're not going to get moisture down your barrel.
Yeah.
Or if you're walking through 2 feet of snow,
There it is.
you could jam snow up in your barrel. You could blow your barrel up when you pull the
Yep.
trigger.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good point.
Mud. I stuck mud in the barrel of a gun one time when I was deer hunting. And fortunately, I knew about it. I stopped, unloaded the gun, got a vine, poking it out, sitting on this log, and look up, and there's a great big buck. Just
Of
look at it.
course. Of course.
I got my gun taken apart and laid out, and I'm cleaning it and going, "Hi, how you doing there?"
And he knows it. He's been watching. He's like, okay, now it's time to go.
He's totally taking the gun apart. Yeah.
But no, that makes it's a good safety
And you can
thing.
shoot right through it.
And you shoot right through it. You don't take it off. You just shoot right through it.
Yeah.
Right.
Doesn't
We
change the
use a-
trajectory impact.
So
We used to stretch electrician's tape over the barrel, but
Yes.
this works better.
same thing.
Yep.
But so what was the vibe of the voting polls? What was the
I told KJ I was standing in line and for a while, and so I'm kind of just looking at everybody and making my total biased judgments on every person I saw to make a guess. Are they a Trump or a Biden? Let's take a look. And where we are, I mean, in our little neck of the woods, I think Trump is going to win this little section of our world. But it was interesting because it's hard to say, and I think it's going to be really close. I think it's going to be so close, and that's why it's so important to get out there. If you are a gun enthusiast and gun rights are important to you, you got to get there and vote.
Don't take it, and plus don't take it as, well, my vote would just cancel out my buddy's vote who's going to be liberal. Don't think of it that way. Your vote counts.
And then I hear people say, well, but I live in a state where it's obviously going to be Trump, or I live in California where it obviously doesn't matter, except that, at least for talking points, they're still yakking about the popular vote in the 2016 election, even though that doesn't matter. Okay, so your vote matters in the popular vote. It can take away some of that talk. The other thing is, if you don't vote, just shut the hell up. I don't want to hear from you anymore.
That's
if
fair.
you won't get off your rear end and go vote, I mean, there are people who gave their lives, who have died so that Americans can vote. If you support the military, you have to vote. If you support veterans, you have to vote. I just can't even imagine somebody saying, well, it's just not that important, or I'm too busy, or I can't get off work. There are people who stand in line for days in other parts of the world to be able to vote. I mean, just no. Yeah, it's inconvenient. So what? This is what you get to do. You get to do this as an American.
Yeah. Yeah. People are dying in other places, trying to fight the ability to do what we do with our voting and democracy and all this stuff. So, Tom, have you been shooting any guns?
Yeah. Let's see.
Shooting.
Let's see. Been shooting my Ruger number 1 in 280 Ackley improved. That's what I was carrying today. KJ, I sent you that picture of that rifle up the top of the mountain there.
It's beautiful.
When you don't see any deer, you take pictures of your rifle. What can I tell you?
That's right. Occupy time.
And a great lesson from Tom that I received early on. He says, if you want pretty pictures, go pretty places. And I tell you, it is a beautiful, beautiful shot. And there's just a hint of a plane in the background.
Yeah. I make sure my little airplane, I've got an airplane that costs half what your pickup truck costs.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's a 1967 model. So what are you going to do? But yeah, so that's kind of the deal. I've also been shooting. In fact, it's what I'm wearing right now is a 44 Special 3-inch barrel revolver.
Really?
Yeah, because it's they had made it about 25 years. Smith & Wesson, a 624. They made it for 2 years, I think. It was one of those Lou Horton special deal, like Lipsy's does a special run. 3-inch barrel, 44 Special, has a little bit lighter, thinner barrel than a 44 Magnum. Although the reality is, you can buy one now. Just get the 3-inch barrel 44 Magnum, and you could shoot 44 Special in it using hard cast bullets I got some of the HSM ammo guys. They make really good ammo. Doesn't kick nearly as much as a 44 Magnum, but with those hard cast lead bullets or the Black Hills ammo, they load honey badger ammo.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
44 special.
That's awesome.
We have a lot of lions here and bears. We just have bear running around town here. And we have wolves everywhere. We have wolves killing cattle down here, not too far from the cabin. And so when I walk out the door, I'm wearing something, and I've actually started, and I think you got me started on this, Ryan, on my 9mm, I'm carrying the honey badger ammo in my 9.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It works on two-legged, four-legged, whatever the thing is. Did you see
or
the
no-legged.
video? Or no-legged. Did you see the video of the mountain lion backing that guy down that road?
I get it that people say, okay, she was just protecting her cub, but she was just trying to run him off. All that's true. At the same time, I'm not going to just allow something like that to chew on me.
Right.
Nope.
I thought the guy did a pretty good job of backing away. Did you notice that every time he started to move his head away and when he broke eye contact, it made a charge?
Yep.
And
Right.
It's probably a mock charge, just kind of keep him moving, running. Because, I mean, that's not a mountain lion charge. Because if a mountain lion charges you, you're going to get a mountain lion on top of you.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
You know,
But, even those false charges, I mean, I would say he's justified if he was carrying a gun to
I
go
would've
ahead
shot her.
and shoot him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I probably would have done is tried one shot 2 or 3 feet in front to try to blow gravel and dirt and junk up. And so I could maybe dissuade her and see if I could do that.
Yeah.
But that was really the most amazing video. 6 minutes.
Yeah.
This mountain lion followed him down this trail. Did you notice at one point he says, "Where's my gun?"
Yeah.
I didn't hear it. He said that?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. In the middle of it, he says, "Where's my gun?" And I'm thinking, well, dude, you're the one that went hiking up in the mountains. You own a gun and you know how to use a gun and you left it there. And look, I don't care if people say, well, I'm going to be running. Okay, great.
I know.
Figure out a system that works.
Take an LCP, a little thing that weighs nothing.
Yeah.
Rick Perry, the governor of Texas, Rick Perry, ended up shooting a coyote with an LCP because it was trying to kill his wife's dog that he was walking.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that story.
I do remember that. Yeah.
Okay, LCP isn't great. Is it better than a rock? Oh yeah.
Heck yeah. I don't have to wrestle with the mountain lion.
Right.
I don't have a lot of experience in that.
Yeah.
That's kind of like juggling running chainsaws.
Right. Yes. No, thank you.
Don't do that.
Yeah. So I don't know, Tom, you were so wishy-washy today. Are you thinking people should actually get out and vote?
If I could find each of them and kick them in the butt and get them to the polls, I would do that. I voted absentee. I mailed mine in. Think of it this way: you got bragging rights when you vote. If for no other reason you say you can have one up on anybody that doesn't vote.
Yeah.
And you can lord it over them. I don't know. You got to find your own motivation. I mean, if preserving our republic isn't enough, and preserving gun rights isn't enough, and holding on to the guns that you own isn't enough, then figure out what is. And look, I get it. Trump is goofy and strange and tweets and runs off at the mouth and all of that. I don't care.
But we need it.
Biden he's promised he's going to take away your guns.
Well, look at it this way, too. And you're exactly right. Look at it this way. For anyone who is listening to this and they grew up in a world, so we've lived so long since 1986 and since 1968, and these big, enormous loss of liberties, these gun control acts, that they've become normal to a lot of people. This is just normal, right? Normal.
Yep.
But it's not normal. And what will happen if we get Biden in there is more loss of liberties that will become normal to the people who are a little bit younger now. And they'll become, well, why would anyone ever want a semi-automatic? That's horrible.
Well, you people in California think it's normal to have to wait 10 days or to have to do a background check to buy ammunition or to have a list of approved guns, and no other guns can be sold there unless they have been approved by the state because they've been living under that for so long. I mean, you know, Ryan, I've told you, I go way back to the point where when I was a youngster, I could order a gun from the magazine Boy's Life, the Boy Scout magazine, and it would be mailed to my house. There was no such thing as a federal licensed dealer, an FFL. You could just buy a gun. You could buy it at a grocery store. You could buy it at a gas station, and you could buy it when you were 6 years old if you had the money.
Right.
And we didn't have any problems with it. That was normal. Now people say, well, that's, you know, that was then. But that you're exactly right. You lose these a piece at a time, and you get acclimated to whatever the loss of liberty is that you've suffered.
Yeah, and that's the scary part, is it becomes this permanent thing that you don't get it back.
No.
I mean, you give up that ground,
No.
you can't
No.
get it back at that point. Well, all right. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for giving everybody a kick in the butt. Hope we motivate some people.
Yeah, at least I got to do something today. I sure didn't get any deer this morning.
Yeah.
So,
You
well.
Bring your deer call with you.
Yeah, that's all you need.
Go catch some
I
deer.
need KJ with me.
He's the
Are you
deer
guys-
whisperer.
Are you guys going to do a thing on latest hunt with Jet?
We probably will. We probably need to get him in here and have him tell the story.
That'd be great. You got 12-year-old getting that deer. That was just terrific, man. That's good on you.
Well, it's just, hey, we grew up around guns. Our kids need to.
We got to
also.
do it. Yeah. That's another good thing. So get out, vote, take somebody shooting, take somebody hunting. That's important stuff as well. That's it for us. We'll see you next time on Gun Talk Nation.